Hi girls, this is the last video class to complete our syllabus. Here it is a definition of irreducible polynomial of unit 3. Based on this definition, we have one practical problem. Let f be a field, a non-constant polynomial f of x belongs to capital F of x is said to be an irreducible over f if f of x cannot be expressed as a product of two polynomials. Means if we have some polynomial, if we cannot express as a product of two, then we can say it is irreducible. See the note point 1. If we can express as a product of two polynomials, we can say it is reducible. See the second note point. If the polynomial has degree 2 or 3, then f of x is reducible if and only if f of x has a 0 in f. We can see by this note point, if f of x is reducible, we can say directly f of x has a 0 in f. And also we can say if f of x has a 0 in f, we can say f of x is reducible. Now finally we can say f is a field. Third note point, if generator p of x is a maximal ideal in f of x, we can say p of x is irreducible. In the same way, if the p of x is irreducible, we can say generator p of x is maximal ideal. Finally, we can say the capital F of x is a field. Fourth note point, here f of x, let f be a field and p of x be an irreducible polynomial, then f of x by generator p of x is a field. Simply, if p of x is irreducible, directly we can say this formation f of x by generator p of x is a field. Remember these 4 note points. Based on this note point, we have this problem, practical problem. Already I gave you this problem, but that problem is very difficult to understand, so I gave you this easy method. Show that R of x by generator x square plus 1 is a field. Let taking p of x equals to x square plus 1. Now consider p of x equals to 0. Now you see the second note point. If f of x has a 0, we can say f of x is reducible. For this case, I am taking p of x equals to 0. P of x equals to 0 means x square plus 1 equals to 0. Send the plus 1 to right side, minus 1. X equals to root minus 1. That does not belongs to the R because the ring contains only the positive integers. It does not have any root, any negative values. So p of x is not equals to 0. We can say p of x has no 0. If it has 0, we can say it is reducible. See this note point. If has a 0, f of x has a 0, f of x is reducible. If f of x has no 0, we can say it is not reducible. Means p of x is an irreducible polynomial. If it is irreducible polynomial, see the third note point. P of x is reducible means generator p of x is maximal ideal. That only we are writing. Generator p of x is maximal ideal. If it is maximal ideal and irreducible, we can say R of x by generator x square plus 1 is a field. Next theorem. This theorem is very important. Every integral domain can be abandoned in a field. They may ask you in other way also. That is, let D be an integral domain, then show that there exists a field F that contains a subring isomorphic to D. Taking D is an integral domain and taking a set S equals to A comma B such that A comma B belongs to D, and taking an equivalent condition, let F equals to A comma B equivalent to C comma D such that AD equals to BC is a set of equivalent classes. Now also define x comma y can be written as x by y, and addition of multiplication operations on F. we are taking an addition operation and multiplication operation. Based on these two conditions, we are going to prove this theorem. Now you see what we have to prove. It is subring isomorphic to D. We have to prove it is isomorphic. To prove it is an isomorphic, we have to prove it is well defined, means 1 1 on 2 and homomorphic conditions. Here we have to prove there exists a field also, means we have to prove the conditions of the field also. First we are proving the condition of well defined by taking a comma b equals to a dash by b dash and c comma d equals to c dash by d dash. In the next step, cross multiply a b dash equals to a dash b and c d dash equals to c dash d. Now consider this part LHS AD plus BC into B dash D dash. You will understand after proving why we took this only this one. AD plus BC into B dash D dash equals to multiply AD into B dash D dash plus BC into B dash D dash. Now you write AB dash in the bracket and D dash outside and C D dash in the bracket and B dash outside. Now you see here we have AB dash equals to A dash B. Now C D dash equals to C dash D. Now replace those values here. We are writing in the place of AB dash A dash B, in the place of CD dash C dash D. Now interchange the brackets. Now we are writing A dash D dash in the bracket and BD outside. C dash B dash in the bracket, BD outside. Now both the terms BD is common, take it outside. Now send the right side BD to left side. Here B dash D dash to right side. Now you see here condition of addition is satisfying. We can say addition is well defined. The same way we have to prove for the multiplication. For this, consider AC into B dash D dash equals to, in AB dash we are writing in the bracket and C D dash in the other bracket. AB dash can be written as A dash B, C D dash can be written as C dash D. Now A dash C dash in the bracket and BD in the other bracket. Now you see here same elements, means instead of A B C, here on the right side you have in the next step you take BD to left side and B dash D dash to right side. Means here same A equals to B, instead of A equals to B you have A dash B dash C dash D dash. Means under multiplication it is well defined. Now we have to prove F is a field. First condition you have to prove it is an unity, multiplicative inverse and commutative property. Commutative property means all the properties, associative, identity, inverse and commutative we have to prove. First, unity means we will have 1 be the unity and we are writing 0 by 1 is the additive identity of F. Now under addition, identity element will be 0. For this element A by B, identity element will be minus A by B. Under multiplication, identity element will be 1. See, if you cancel, you will get 1. Next we are proving the condition of associative. For this we are taking an elements A, B, C, D, E, F belongs to F. Associative property we will take it as A plus B in the brackets plus C outside. In the same way we are taking elements A comma B plus C comma D in the bracket plus E comma F outside equals to A comma B can be written as A by B. See, in the starting we took X comma Y equals to X by Y. The same way this A comma B can be written as A by B plus C comma D equals to C by D plus E comma F can be written as E by F. Using the addition property, addition condition, what we took, this A by B plus C by D can be written as AD plus BC by BD plus C by F. Take the take the LCM and you will get this formation. This is LHS. In the same way, you take the RHS. RHS means A comma B separately have to take plus C comma D plus E comma F in the bracket. How we have used in the previous step, same formation. You are getting the RHS as same for both the cases. So we can equate LHS and RHS, which we can say associative property satisfying under addition. Next, we are proving commutative property under addition, means A plus B equals to B plus A. Condition for commutative, here instead of A comma B plus C comma D equals to A by B plus C by D. Using the addition defined form, this AD plus BC, A by B can written as AD plus BC comma BD. Now just interchange BC plus AD comma DB. In the reverse we are writing. In the reverse way we should get no A plus B equals to B plus A. That's why we are interchanging. Under addition, it's satisfying the commutative property. Now identity. Here we are taking an identity 0 comma 1. Now under addition, identity will be A plus 0 equals to 0 plus A equals to, you should get same element. For that sake, we are taking A comma B plus 0 comma 1 equals to A comma B can be written as A by B plus 0 comma 1 can be written as 0 by 1. Using the addition property, you are getting A by B, same element you are getting, so 0 comma 1 is a identity. Now next, to prove identity, to prove it is inverse, we are taking A comma B plus minus A. Under addition, minus A comma B, we are taking A comma B plus minus A comma B equals to A comma B written as A by B plus minus A by B. Using the addition form, you are getting 0 by B square. Now we have to prove this 0 by B square is identity. For that case, we have this 0 dot 1 equals to 1 dot 0 equals to, which is 0 comma 1. See, 0 dot 1 equals to 1, we are in the place of 1. 0 dot 1 equals to 1 dot 0, like, which is identity property. In the same way, 0 dot 1 equals to, we are taking B square dot 0, which is nothing but 0 comma 1. Now in the place of 0 comma B square, replace with 0 comma 1. Inverse is existing. Similarly, we have satisfied all the conditions for only addition. In the same way, we can prove for the multiplication condition also. Next, to prove pi mapping from D to F is a ring homomorphism. To prove it is a ring homomorphism, two conditions. Under addition, we have one homomorphism condition. Under multiplication, for that case, we are taking an element x tends to x by 1 formation. Next, another element y tends to y by 1. Now, using the addition form, x plus y by 1 can turn as x by 1 plus y by 1. Addition property is satisfied. Next, under multiplication, the same way. Now we can say pi is a ring homomorphism. It's satisfying the conditions of field and isomorphism. So we can say ring is isomorphic from D to pi of D. Finally, we can say integral domain D is abundant in a field. Next, Fermat's little theorem. This theorem from unit 2. Statement: for every integer a and every prime p, a power p equivalent to a mod p. This is a condition we have to prove now. Proof: let a represents an integer and p denotes a prime number. Now, using the division algorithm formation, a equals to pm plus r. In the division algorithm, in the unit 4, we have f of x equals to g of x, q of x, r of x. In the same way, instead of polynomials, we took the elements a equals to pm plus r. In other way, we can write it this a equals to pm plus r as a equivalent to r under modulo p. Here r is a reminder. When r equals to 0, see here a equivalent to r. Now if you substitute r value as 0, you are getting a value also 0. means it is trivial, means the both sides you will get 0 if r equals to 0. Nothing is going to prove if r value is 0. Now for that sake we are taking r not equals to 0. Now taking r belongs to u of p. U of p means u of n. U of n formation up to 1 to n minus 1. Now you have u of p equals to 1, 2, 3 so on up to p minus 1. Is a finite group under multiplication modulo p. Now order of u of p equals to, order will be here up to p minus 1 you have. Order of u of p equals to p minus 1. Since G is a finite group with A belongs to G, then this is the from known theorem we have this formation. If G is a finite group, some element A belongs to G means A power order G equals to E. Here G is nothing but U of P is a finite group here. Replace G with the U of P. Now order of U of P is nothing but P minus 1. R of P by R equals to 1 under modulo P. Send this denominator r to the right side. Then you are getting r of p equals to r mod p. Now you replace r by a. Then you are getting the final form which we have to prove, a power p equivalent to a mod p. Hence proved. Next theorem, orbit stabilizer theorem. Statement: let G be a finite group of permutation of a set S, then for any I from S, this we have to prove. Order G equals to order orbit G of I into order stabilizer G of I. Proof: here taking G is a group and taking H represents a stabilizer of I in G. That is stabilizer G of I we are taking as H and orbit of G of I we are taking as K. The stabilizer I is a subgroup of G as it satisfies the properties of subgroup. This is from the note point, as a stabilizer is a subgroup of G, and what is the stabilizer of I? Here we took H, means H is a subgroup of G. Now using the Lagrange's theorem, order of G by order of H represents the number of distinct left cosets of H in G. Now if there exists 1-1 correspondence between left cosets of H in G, we have this formation from the Lagrange's theorem, order of G by order of H equals to K. Now we have to prove this K as order K. For that case we are taking this mapping, T mapping from alpha H tends to pi of I. That is T of alpha H equals to pi of I. Remember this form, we will going to use this form in the theorem. Now to prove T is 1-1 correspondence, we have to prove T is well defined, T is 1-1 and T is onto. T is well defined means difference between well defined is 1 and 1-1 is opposite to one another. We will take, for well defined we will take K equals to B and we will prove f of A equals to f of B. Coming to the 1-1, we will take f of A equals to f of B and we will prove A equals to B. First condition, we are taking alpha H equals to beta H. See the property of coset, if AH equals to BH, we have A inverse into B belongs to H. The same property we are applying here, alpha inverse B belongs to H. See, H is nothing but the stabilizer I of G. See the definition of stabilizer I. If some element belongs to stabilizer G of I, then we can write that form as A of I equals to I. Now here the element alpha inverse B belongs to H, which is nothing but stabilizer G of I. Means if some element belongs to the stabilizer of I, we can written as A of I into I. Same form we are using here. Alpha inverse B of I equals to I. Now in the both the sides you are taking alpha on both sides. Now alpha inverse nothing but identity, B of I equals to alpha I. B of I equals to alpha I. B of I can be written as T of beta of H, means you see defined function. Here T of alpha H equals to pi of I. Pi of I can be written as T of alpha H. Here you have beta of I. Beta of I can be written as T of beta H equals to alpha I can be written as T of alpha H. By taking alpha H equals to beta H, you got this T of alpha H equals to T of beta H, which T is well defined. Now to prove second condition, we have to prove it is 1 1, means reverse of well defined form. We have to prove T of alpha H equals to T of beta H. At last we have to prove alpha H equals to beta H. Next we have to prove it is onto 2. To prove it is onto, we have to take an element J belongs to K. Now J equals to alpha I we are taking. You have to take the onto formation same like a defined function. Now alpha is nothing but T of alpha H, means T is an onto function. Now already we have order of G by order of H equals to, with satisfying all the conditions, we can say it is order K also satisfying, means we can take it as order K, means in the next step you send the order of H to the right side. Order of G equals to order of H into order of K. What is the H value? Substitute stabilizer G of I. K value is arbitrary G of I, means this is the form we have to prove it as a orbit stabilizer theorem. Next, alternating group. This is from unit 1. We will define alternating group with an and I set 1, 2, so on n is alternating group of n letters if it has a order n factorial by 2. If it has n factorial by 2, and we can say it is an alternating group if it has a even permutations of a set 1, 2, so on n. Based on this definition only we have the theorem. This theorem is very important. For n greater than 1, show that alternating group an has order n factorial by 2. Now we are taking Sn is an alternating group. Sn equals to E's we are taking as a even numbers, E1, E2, E3 up to EP. Even numbers we are defined with E's. Odd numbers we are defined with O. O1, O2, O3, so on, OQ be the permutation group of order n factorial. We are taking this total set contains order n factorial, means E is containing P up to P and the O's you have up to Q, means P plus Q equals to n factorial total order of the set. Now taking one more element, T belongs to S and B a transposition. Since in the permutation multiplication satisfies the closure property, means T into E1 plus T into E2 into so on TEP, T01, T01, T02, so on TOQ, which belongs to Sn. Since T is an odd permutation, since it's a transposition, it will have the odd permutations. Now E is nothing but even numbers. Now if you multiply with T, odd into even will be odd. TE1, TE2, so on TEP are odd permutations. Now T into O's nothing but odd. Odd into odd will be even. So TO1, TO2, so on TOQ are even permutations. Now let TEI equals to TEJ. Now by left cancellation you are getting EI equals to EJ. Hence TE1, TE2, so on TEP are distinct permutations in Sn, but Sn should contain at most Q odd permutations. At most means the Q will be a higher value and the P will be contains only at most few elements which is less than the Q permutation, means P less than equals to Q. Similarly, we can show TO1, TO2, so on TOQ are distinct in Sn, but Sn should contain at almost P even permutations. Almost P means you will have the Q will be lesser than P, means q less than equals to p. From 1 and 2 you see p equals to q. Here p less than equals to q and q less than equals to p. From 1 and 2 we can write p equals to q. In the starting we have p plus q equals to n factorial. In the place of q you substitute p plus p will be 2p equals to n factorial. That implies p equals to n factorial by 2. Means the p equals to q equals to n factorial by 2. The set formation Sn you are getting as n factorial by 2. We can say Sn is a alternating group. Hence theorem is proved as we got the order n factorial by 2. Thank you.